Hi and welcome back to I Completed 80s Music, your journey into the very best, brightest and funniest songs from the best decade of music. Very shortly, we'll be delving into playlist 13, but if you're new to the pod, here's a brief initiation. In 2016, I decided to have possibly the weakest midlife crisis ever and set off on a quest to listen to every single UK charting single from the 31st of December 1979 to the 31st of December 1989. So, a lot of ABBA, Nick Kershaw, Ozzy Osbourne and Stock Aitken and Waterman later, and I'd done it. This pod is a retelling of that journey in calendar order. Each episode, we take a playlist which you'll find for Spotify and Apple Music in the episode description and dissect the music from that point in time. The songs are usually the hits, songs which have interesting or controversial backstories, or songs that were just plain funny or weird. So, if you're wondering if we'll be featuring Russ Abbott's A Happy Atmosphere, yes, we will be featuring it. As always, sadly due to the daft copyright laws which stop actual people actually promoting actual songs making actual artists money, we can't play the music in the pod, but as mentioned, you'll find the playlists in the episode description. Now, as you know, we love comments, corrections and recollections on this pod, and we've had two absolute crackers this week from TikTok. Firstly, on Thin Lizzy's phenomenal song Chinatown, JG360 says, "Awesome song, Phil says China like Trump." And you know what? I can't argue with that logic. He really does. Trump has that strange enunciation where it comes out China, and so does Phil Lynott. So, well spotted, JG360. We also had a great comment from Lynn P32 on Bad Manners Buster Blood Vessels dancing when he was on Top of the Pops singing Lip Up Fatty. Lynn says, "Everyone did this dance and loved it. Now 57, wish could do it again." Yeah. To his credit, I think it's polite to say that Buster Bloodvessel was something of a unit back in the 1980s, but he moved around the stage like a toddler on a pogo stick. For a big bloke packing some timber, he can really shift. And just to do a bit of free plugging, Bad Manners are touring quite a few of the UK retro festivals this summer, so do give them a look. If you're going to any of them, you won't be disappointed. As always, do keep your comments, corrections and recollections coming in either via Instagram, TikTok or X, where you'll find me as the 80s mixtaper, or if you're old school like me, you can email into completed80s@aol.com. That's 80s as in 80s, completed80s@aol.com. Right, where are we? Well, it's playlist 13, and it's the end of summer as we creep gingerly into early autumn and September 1980. In this episode, we'll be giving out some love for the Numanoids with another Gary Numan classic, introducing Robert Palmer to the story of the 80s. We'll hear Queen evolve their sound for the new decade, hear my favourite Bob Marley song, jump on the crazy train with Ozzy Osbourne, revisit the school disco for what feels like the umpteenth time in as many pods with Ottawan, and end with a sneaky good heartbreak song by Odyssey. As usual, if you like the pod, please do give us a follow on your podcast platform of choice. It helps me by moving the pod up the rankings and gives me a rough idea if people are enjoying the format. I'd rather have bad comments than no comments as well, so please do get in touch or post a review, otherwise I'm sort of in the dark as to whether people are enjoying the pod and the format. Right, I'll stop being a needy bellend now. Let's get back to the music. In the kaleidoscopic landscape of 1980s synth-pop, Gary Numan's I Die, You Die emerges as a beacon of artistic defiance and sonic evolution. Released on August the 22nd, 1980, this track not only solidified Numan's position in the music world, but also served as a raw, unfiltered commentary on his tumultuous relationship with the media. This is track 1, playlist 13. Following the release of We Are Glass earlier in 1980, Numan found himself at a crossroads. His previous album, The Pleasure Principle, had been a testament to pure electronic soundscapes, deliberately omitting guitars to craft a distinct auditory experience. However, with We Are Glass, Numan reintroduced guitars, blending them seamlessly with his signature synthesizers. He described both tracks as Much the same thing, both very chorus oriented, but with the guitars as the main rhythmic device and the keyboards tinkling over the top. This marked a pivotal shift in his musical approach, signalling a willingness to evolve and experiment. Lyrically, I Die You Die is a direct confrontation with the music press. Numan felt increasingly alienated by critics who, in his view, misunderstood and misrepresented his work. The song's lyrics reflect this tension, serving as a cathartic outlet for his frustrations. Lines like, "This is not love, this is not even worth a point of view," encapsulates his disillusionment with the media's portrayal of his artistry. Upon its release, I Die You Die made a significant impact on the UK singles chart, debuting at number 8 and peaking at number 6 the following week. Despite its commercial success, the track was notably absent from the original vinyl release of Numan's album Telecon, which was released 2 weeks later. However, it did appear on overseas versions of the album, replacing the track Sleep by Windows, as well as on the cassette release. The UK singles B-side featured a solo piano rendition of Down in the Park performed by Dennis Haynes. This minimalist interpretation offered a stark contrast to the A-side's layered production, highlighting Numan's versatility and willingness to explore different musical textures. In the US and other countries where I Die You Die was included on Telecon, Sleep by Windows served as the B-side. The recording sessions for I Die You Die took place at Matrix Studios in London in 1980. The track features Numan on vocals, Mini Moog, Poly Moog, Roland Jupiter 4, Roland CR78 and guitar, Paul Gardner on bass guitar, Cedric Sharpley on drums, Russell Bell on backing vocals, and Dennis Haynes on piano and additional synths. This ensemble crafted a rich, textured sound that seamlessly blended electronic and rock elements. Over the years, I Die You Die has remained a staple in Numan's live performances. It has been featured on numerous live albums, including White Noise in 1985, Ghost in 88, The Skin Mechanic in 89. The song's enduring appeal is a testament to its powerful composition and the raw emotion it conveys. In 1997, Stephen Merritt of the Magnetic Fields covered I Die You Die for the tribute album Random. The song was also remixed for the 1988 collection The Mix and has appeared on various compilation albums. The songs We Are Glass and I Die You Die underscore Numan's artistic evolution. The reintroduction of guitars marked a departure from his earlier, more austere electronic sound, allowing for greater musical complexity and a broader emotional palette. Both tracks are characterised by their anthemic choruses and the interplay between rhythmic guitar lines and shimmering synthesizer melodies. I Die You Die stands as a retort to the naysayers in Gary Numan's career. It encapsulates his response to external criticism, his willingness to evolve artistically, and his enduring influence on the synth-pop genre. Our track 2 today is a sneaky good song which I'd never heard before starting this pop odyssey. And few tracks encapsulate the era's blend of synthetic innovation and lyrical introspection like Robert Palmer's Johnny and Mary. Released in August 1980 as the lead single from his 6th studio album Clues, this song marked a pivotal moment in Palmer's eclectic career, showcasing his seamless transition from the soulful rhythms of the 70s to the new wave sensibilities that defined the subsequent decade. This is track 2. Born Robert Allen Palmer on January the 19th, 1949 in Backley, West Yorkshire. Yes, Robert Palmer was a Yorkshireman. I always thought he was American. Palmer's early life was steeped in diverse musical influences. His upbringing in Malta due to his father's naval career exposed him to a variety of sounds from jazz to calypso. Returning to the UK in his teens, Palmer immersed himself in the burgeoning British music scene. In the late 1960s, he joined the band The Alan Bound Set, replacing Jess Roden as the lead vocalist. This stint was followed by a more prominent role in the jazz rock ensemble Dada, which eventually evolved into Vinegar Joe. Co-fronted with Elkie Brooks, Vinegar Joe was known for its energetic performances and gritty blues rock sound. Despite critical acclaim, the band disbanded in 1974, prompting Palmer to embark on his solo career. His debut solo album, Sneakin' Sally Through the Alley, 1974, recorded in New Orleans with members of the Meters and Little Feat, showcases penchant for blending rock, funk and soul. Subsequent albums like Pressure Drop in 1975 and Double Fun in 1978 continued this eclectic exploration, with Palmer delving into reggae and Caribbean influences, reflecting his time spent in the Bahamas. By the late 1970s, Palmer had established himself as a versatile artist, unafraid to experiment. His 1979 album Secrets hinted at a shift towards a more synthesized sound, setting the stage for what would become a pivotal moment in his career. Recorded at Compass Point Studios in the Bahamas, Johnny and Mary emerged from Palmer's fascination with the burgeoning new wave movement. The track is anchored by a minimalist yet driving rhythm, characterized by a repetitive synth bass line and a crisp drum machine pattern. This stark musical landscape provides the backdrop for Palmer's contemplative lyrics, which narrate the story of a couple grappling with existential ennui. Johnny's always running around, trying to find certainty. He needs all the world to confirm that he ain't lonely. These words paint a portrayal of Johnny as a restless soul, perpetually seeking validation and purpose. In contrast, Mary is depicted as introspective and resigned. Mary counts the walls, knows he tires easily. The interplay between Johnny's external quest and Mary's internal resignation encapsulates a universal theme of searching for meaning, a sentiment that resonated deeply during a time of societal shifts and technological advancements. Upon its release, Johnny and Mary achieved moderate commercial success. In the UK, it peaked at number 44 on the official singles chart. However, its impact was more pronounced in continental Europe, reaching number 7 in Germany and spending 23 weeks in the top 20. In Spain, the track ascended to the number 1 spot, underscoring its broad appeal. Beyond the charts, the song actually found a lasting legacy through its association with Renault car adverts through the 80s and 90s. Initially, Palmer's original recording was used, but later campaigns featured various reinterpretations, most notably an acoustic rendition by jazz guitarist Martin Taylor. This association cemented Johnny and Mary in the public consciousness, introducing it to audiences who might not have encountered it otherwise. At the time of its release, Johnny and Mary received mixed reviews. Mike Gardner of the Record Mirror praised Palmer's fusion of styles, noting that he had merged his own style with that of Gary Numan, resulting in a mixture that sounds suspiciously like mid-period Cliff Richard. I'm not too sure if that's complimentary or not. Martin Sutton of Melody Maker described it as an ultra-modern 80s single, highlighting its departure from Palmer's earlier work. In retrospect, the song is often hailed as a precursor to Palmer's later mainstream success, particularly with hits like Addicted to Love in 1986. Its minimalist arrangement and introspective lyrics have inspired numerous artists to offer their interpretations. Notable covers include versions by Status Quo, Placebo, and a haunting rendition by Brian Ferry in 2014. Palmer's Clues album, on which the track appears, is noteworthy not just for its content, but also for its collaborations. The album features contributions from the aforementioned Gary Numan and Talking Heads drummer Chris Frantz, further embedding Palmer within a new wave milieu. This willingness to collaborate and experiment kept Palmer's sound fresh and relevant, bridging genres and eras. The significance of Johnny and Mary also lies in its lyrical exploration of disconnection and identity. In an era teetering on the edge of digital transformation, the song's themes resonate even more profoundly today. Johnny's restless pursuit mirrors modern anxieties around self-worth and social validation, while Mary's quiet observation reflects the internal struggles that often accompany such relentless quests. Moreover, the song's minimalist production is a testament to Palmer's understanding of restraint. In an age where maximalism often dominated, Palmer's choice to strip down the arrangement allowed the narrative to take centre stage. The repetitive synth motif, rather than becoming monotonous, serves as a hypnotic thread that ties the listener to Johnny and Mary's emotional journey. As Palmer continued his career, dabbling in power pop, blue-eyed soul, and even joining the supergroup The Power Station, Johnny and Mary remained as a standout piece. It wasn't the commercial juggernaut that Addicted to Love became, but its enduring appeal lies in its subtlety and emotional depth. For many fans, it represents the essence of Palmer's artistry, a blend of musical craftsmanship and lyrical poignancy. Listening to Johnny and Mary today is akin to flipping through a well-worn novel where every line and every note reveals something new. It's a song that doesn't clamour for attention, but earns it through its sincerity and simplicity. In a discography as diverse as Palmer's, this track stands as a quiet yet powerful testament to his ability to capture the human condition in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Next up, a track which sidestepped genre expectations from Queen. This is the third time we've met them on this pod. Firstly, we had the rockabilly-fueled crazy little thing called Love, and then the personal rock ballad Save Me. But those were all clearly Queen sounding like Queen. But nothing shifts as deftly as Queen's 1980 hit, Another One Bites the Dust. Emerging from their 8th studio album, The Game, this song not only showcased the band's versatility, but also became a global sensation, cementing its place in music lore and setting them up for their incredible 1980s. This is track 3. Penned by bassist John Deacon, Another One Bites the Dust was a departure from Queen's signature rock sound, delving into the realms of funk and disco. Deacon's inspiration stemmed from the infectious groove of Chic's Good Times. In a nod to this influence, Chic's co-founder Bernard Edwards noted that Deacon had spent time with them in the studio, absorbing the essence of their rhythmic style. The recording sessions took place at Musicland Studios in Munich, with Deacon laying down the bass line, piano and the rhythm guitar. Drummer Roger Taylor contributed a distinctive drum loop, while guitarist Brian May added ambient noises using his guitar and an eventide harmonizer. Notably, the track eschewed synthesizers. All effects were crafted through traditional instruments and innovative tape playback techniques. Upon its release on August the 22nd, 1980, Another One Bites the Dust quickly ascended the charts. In the United States, it dominated the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 consecutive weeks, from October the 4th to October the 18th, marking Queen's second and final number 1 single in that country. The song also secured the number 2 spot on both the Hot Soul Singles and Disco Top 100 charts. In the United Kingdom, it peaked at number 7 on the official singles chart. The track's foray into funk and disco was a calculated risk. After attending a Queen concert in Los Angeles, Michael Jackson suggested to Freddie Mercury that the song had the potential to be a hit single. Taking this advice, the band released it, and the gamble paid off. The song's infectious groove resonated with a broad audience, transcending the typical rock fan base and becoming a staple in dance clubs. Another One Bites the Dust garnered critical acclaim, winning the American Music Award for Favourite Rock Single in 1981 and earning a Grammy nomination for Best Rock Performance by a duo or group with vocal. Its enduring appeal is evident, with the track being covered, remixed and sampled by numerous artists over the decade. Notably, in 1998, Wyclef Jean collaborated with Queen to produce a remix featuring Praz and Free, which introduced the song to a new generation and achieved significant chart success. And if that's not enough, when it comes to sporting events, its use ranges from the sublime to the ridiculous. The phrase "bite the dust" colloquially refers to death or defeat. In the song, the lyrics paint vivid scenes, a man readying for confrontation with machine guns ready to go, and then later, reflections on a failed relationship. The narrative intertwines themes of conflict and personal loss, all set against the backdrop of a pulsating beat. In the early 1980s, some Christian evangelists alleged that when played in reverse, the chorus of Another One Bites the Dust contained the hidden message, "It's fun to smoke marijuana." Queen and their record label have consistently denied these claims, asserting that any such interpretations are purely coincidental. Another One Bites the Dust stands as a testament to Queen's willingness to experiment and push musical boundaries. By embracing a funk-infused sound, the band not only broadened their artistic horizons, but also achieved one of the most significant commercial successes. The track's enduring popularity underscores its unique place in the pantheon of 80s rock and pop music. Next up, when you consider Bob Marley's discography, Three Little Birds stands out as a beacon of hope and resilience. It is also my favourite Bob Marley song. Released on June the 3rd, 1977, as part of the seminal album Exodus, this track has transcended its origins to become a universal anthem of optimism. Its journey from a modest album inclusion to a cultural touchstone speaks of its enduring appeal and the profound simplicity of its message. This is our track 4. The genesis of Three Little Birds is rooted in Marley's daily life in Kingston, Jamaica. While the song's title and lyrics suggest a straightforward inspiration, the true muse behind the track has been the subject of debate. Tony Gilbert, a close friend of Marley, recounted that the singer was inspired by canaries that frequented his home at 56 Hope Road. Gilbert noted, "Bob got inspired by a lot of things around him. He observed life. I remember the three little birds. They were pretty birds, canaries, who would come by the windowsill at Hope Road." This anecdote paints a picture of Marley drawing inspiration from the simple, everyday occurrences around him. However, another perspective comes from the I3s, Marley's trio of backup singers. Marsha Griffiths, a member of the group, suggested that they were the three little birds Marley referred to. She recalled, "After the song was written, Bob would always refer to us as the Three Little Birds." This duality in interpretation adds a layer of richness to the song's backstory, reflecting Marley's multifaceted sources of inspiration. Musically, Three Little Birds is anchored in the key of A major, embodying the roots reggae genre that Marley popularised. The song's structure is deceptively simple, with a laid-back rhythm that complements its uplifting lyrics. The chorus, with its reassuring lines, "Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright," serves as a soothing mantra, encouraging listeners to find solace amongst life's challenges. This simplicity is perhaps the song's greatest strength. It distills a universal sentiment into a concise and memorable form, allowing it to permeate and infuse different cultures and generations. The repetition of the chorus reinforces its message, making it an earworm that carries a positive affirmation. Upon its release as a single on August the 29th, 1980, Three Little Birds achieved notable success, peaking at number 17 on the UK singles chart. This accomplishment is particularly significant given the competitive musical landscape of the time. Decades later, the song's popularity has only grown. In December 2021, it was certified double platinum in the UK, signifying over 1.2 million units sold. This milestone underscores the track's enduring appeal and its ability to connect with new audiences over time. The song's influence extends beyond commercial metrics. It's been covered by numerous artists across various genres, each bringing their unique interpretation while preserving its core message. Notably, in 2008, British child singer Connie Talbot released a rendition that introduced the classic to a younger generation, highlighting its timeless relevance. Three Little Birds has permeated various facets of pop culture, often serving as a source of comfort and unity. A remarkable instance of this adoption was by the Boston Red Sox during their 2013 World Series campaign. Outfielder Shane Victorino chose the song as his walk-up music, a decision that resonated deeply with the fans. The infectious optimism of the track mirrored the team's resilient spirit, especially during critical moments. In Game 6 of the World Series against the St. Louis Cardinals, Victorino delivered a pivotal performance, driving in 4 runs and leading the Red Sox to a 6-1 victory, clinching the championship. As the final outs were recorded, the familiar strains of Three Little Birds echoed through Fenway Park, with fans singing in unison, "Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright." This spontaneous chorus encapsulated the collective relief and joy of a city that had faced its share of sporting hardships. The song, much like the boisterous outfielder himself, came to embody this gritty group, and it grew to resonate with this baseball-crazed city. It illustrates how a song released decades earlier can find new life and meaning in unexpected context, uniting people through its enduring message. The universal appeal of Three Little Birds lies in its simple yet profound message of reassurance. In times of uncertainty, the song serves as a reminder to focus on the positive aspects of life. Its inclusion in countless media, from films to commercials, attests to its widespread resonance. Moreover, its presence in family-friendly playlists highlights its cross-generational appeal, offering a soothing balm in a fast-paced world. In 2020, as part of commemorating what would have been Marley's 75th birthday, a new animated music video for Three Little Birds was released. The visuals depict a narrative of friendship and harmony, themes that are ever relevant in today's global climate. Marley's daughter, Sadella, remarked, "This song has helped provide hope and light for so many over the years, including me, and I hope it does the same for people now, especially with all that is going on in the world." Her words underscore the song's enduring capacity to uplift and inspire. For that reason alone, it must enter our 80s pantheon. For our fifth song today, we're with one of the defining people in rock and metal. A character who has been ever present either in the charts or in the news or on the telly with his wife Sharon. Crazy, but that's how it goes. This is not only the opening line, but also the most fitting description of this man. Few tracks have the instant recognisability of Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. That chugging riff, that eerily melodic vocal line, the whole terrifying yet exhilarating sensation of being carried at full speed towards some unknown destination. This is how you open a solo career. Released on September the 12th, 1980, as the lead single from The Blizzard of Oz, Crazy Train wasn't just Ozzy Osbourne stepping out from under the shadow of Black Sabbath. It was him detonating that shadow with the force of a nuclear blast. To get to Crazy Train, though, we first have to get to 1979, which means we have to get to the end of Ozzy's tenure in Black Sabbath. By the late 70s, Sabbath had more or less pioneered the genre of heavy metal, but was suffering from serious internal rot. And by internal rot, I mean cocaine, Jack Daniels, and Ozzy Osbourne being absolutely, irredeemably unreliable. His addictions were spiralling, his performances erratic. Tony Iommi, never one for sentimentality, decided it was time to cut ties, and in April 1979, Osbourne was unceremoniously fired from the band he had co-founded. Ozzy spiralled. He holed up in a hotel in Los Angeles for months, numbing himself with drugs and alcohol, fully convinced his career was over. It took Sharon Arden, his future wife and manager, to drag him out of that abyss. She got him signed to Jet Records and started assembling a band around him. But the linchpin, the key to this whole rebirth, was finding the right guitarist. Enter Randy Rhoads. Randy Rhoads was 22 years old when he auditioned for Ozzy Osbourne in September 1979. He was a classically trained shredder from Quiet Riot, and Ozzy, still half drunk, didn't even want to hold auditions. But after hearing Rhoads play, he was sold instantly. He played, and it was like a gift from God, Ozzy later recalled. I knew he was something special. With Rhoads on board, the lineup took shape. Bob Daisley on bass, Lee Kerslake on drums. The band began writing songs in a small rehearsal space in Monmouth, Wales, and one of the first pieces to emerge was the foundation of Crazy Train. The song starts with that iconic riff, 3 notes ascending and descending in a way that somehow sounds both mechanical and alive, relentless like an actual locomotive. Rhoads came up with it while fooling around in the studio. It's been compared to everything from the rhythm of a speeding train to an anxious heartbeat, and once he locked into it, the rest of the song followed quickly. Lyrically, Crazy Train is a Cold War era anxiety attack. The lyrics, written by Daisley, speak to a world on the brink of nuclear annihilation. The late 70s and 80s were peak apocalyptic dread, The Soviet Union, Ronald Reagan, mutually assured destruction, all that fun stuff. The opening lines set the tone immediately. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as foes. It's a simple but effective summation of global paranoia. The verses continue in this vein, painting a picture of a world coming apart at the seams, but with an undercurrent of optimism. There's a glimmer of hope in lines like, maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. Musically, Crazy Train is as much a showcase for Rhodes as it is for Ozzy. His solo in particular is a masterpiece of technique and melody, blending classically inspired runs with blistering speed. It's the sound of a young guitarist pushing himself to the limit and in the process redefining what a heavy metal solo could be. When Crazy Train was released in September 1980, it didn't exactly set the charts on fire. In the UK, where Sabbath had long been a staple, the song didn't even crack the top 40, peaking at a modest number 49. In the US, where the Billboard Hot 100 wasn't particularly kind to metal at the time, it didn't chart at all. But the thing about Crazy Train is that its impact was never about its chart performance. Over time, the song became the Ozzy Osbourne anthem. It became one of the most instantly recognisable riffs in rock history. It became a sports arena staple, a video game soundtrack fixture, and a mandatory inclusion on every high school guitarist's repertoire. And for Ozzy himself, it became proof that he could exist outside of Black Sabbath's shadow. Tragically, Randy Rhoads wouldn't be around to see the full scope of the song's impact. In March 1982, at just 25 years old, he was killed in a plane crash while on tour with Osbourne. His death was a devastating loss, but his influence, particularly through songs like Crazy Train, remains profound. Today, more than 4 decades after its release, Crazy Train is still a monster. It's the song that introduced Ozzy Osbourne as a solo artist. It's a song that turned Randy Rhoads into a legend. And it's a song that, no matter how many times you hear it, still feels like you're barreling towards something huge and dangerous and exhilarating. It is a Pantheon entry purely for being one of the most recognised openings in all of rock and metal history. All aboard indeed. Now, before we get to track 6, which is a disco song, it needs to be asked just how many great disco songs come out of 1980. We've had Oops Upside Your Head, we've had Funky Town, we've had Feels Like I'm in Love. I don't know if it was just because the wheels were coming off Cool Disco and rerouting it onto school disco tracks, but here's another iconic school disco song. There are disco songs and then there are school disco anthems, tracks so ingrained in the genre's DNA that they become shorthand for the entire scene. Ottawan's 1980 hit D.I.S.C.O is one of those. A song that is somehow deeply silly and undeniably infectious. A track that takes the basic premise of a pop hook and wrings every last drop out of it, spelling out the word disco like a gleeful child who just learned the alphabet and wants the whole dance floor to know about it. This is track 6. Ottawan was a project masterminded by the production duo of Daniel Vanguard and Jean Kluger. If those names sound familiar, it's because Vanguard was the architect of some of the biggest European disco hits of the late 70s, writing and producing for acts like the Gibson Brothers and Sheila and B Devotion, both of whom we heard from in the earliest episodes of this pod. And if Vanguard's name still doesn't ring a bell, maybe his son's does. He's Thomas Bangalter, one half of Daft Punk. So yes, in a way, the same bloodline that gave us D.I.S.C.O would go on to give us Around the World nearly 2 decades later. You're welcome, history. The faces of Ottawan were Patrick Jean-Baptiste, a Guadeloupe-born singer, and Annette Eltis, a Caribbean vocalist with an effortlessly cool stage presence. Their image, brightly coloured, unapologetically flamboyant, was perfectly in step with the neon-drenched world of Eurodisco, and in 1979 they arrived with a debut single that would make their name immortal. Released in late 1979 and hitting its peak in 1980, D.I.S.C.O is the kind of song that burrows into your brain upon first listen. It has an impossibly bouncy bass line, a metronomic drum beat, and a chorus that repeats itself so relentlessly that it feels more like a mission statement than a pop hook. The lyrics are as straightforward as they come. Each letter of D.I.S.C.O stands for a different adjective describing a woman. She is D, delirious. She is I, incredible. She is S, superficial. She is C, complicated. She is O. There's something beautifully ridiculous about this approach to lyricism. In a way, it's the ultimate disco track because it does exactly what the genre was meant to do. Keep the vibe moving. There's no deep introspective, no narrative complexity, just a beat, a melody, and a chorus that will echo in your head for the next 24 hours. The song was an instant hit, particularly in Europe, where it topped the charts in several countries. In the UK, D.I.S.C.O was released much later, and it peaked at number 2 on the official singles chart in September 1980. It also hit number 1 in the Netherlands and Norway, and cracked the top 10 in France, Belgium, and Germany. A huge part of its success lay in its adaptability. Ottawan recorded both English and French versions of D.I.S.C.O, ensuring they could dominate charts in both languages. The song was an export-friendly slice of disco, tailor-made for an international audience who maybe didn't know what complicated meant in English, but certainly knew how to dance to it. Unlike some disco hits that faded when the genre's mainstream popularity declined in the early 80s, D.I.S.C.O refused to go quietly. The song remained a party favourite, cropping up in various forms over the years. In 1997, UK dance group N-Trance reworked it into a club anthem, injecting it with Eurodance energy. In 2011, electro-pop duo The Young Professionals gave it a fresh, synth-heavy makeover. The song's endurance makes sense. It's engineered to be addictive. It's the kind of track that sneaks onto wedding playlists and New Year's Eve parties, and of course the aforementioned school discos. Popping up whenever a DJ decides what this room needs right now is some totally unserious, irresistibly fun energy. Of course, Ottawan didn't stop there. In 1981 they followed up with Hands Up, Give Me Your Heart, which we will definitely hear on this pod, which was just as earwormy and went top 5 in the UK, topping the charts in New Zealand where it stayed at number 1 for 8 weeks. By the mid-1980s, however, Ottawan's time in the spotlight had waned. Disco's mainstream dominance had ended, and musical trends were shifting toward new wave and synth pop. Patrick Jean-Baptiste eventually moved on to other projects, while Daniel Vanguard focused on behind-the-scenes work, including supporting his son's future endeavours, which again would involve revolutionising dance music. Decades later, D.I.S.C.O still looms large over pop culture. It has been covered, remixed and sampled more times than we can count. It has been performed on reality TV shows, used in commercials, and blasted at countless retro-themed nights. If you walk into a European club playing throwback hits, there's at least a 70% chance you will hear those first few bars before the crowd yells, "She is D, delirious." Ottawan may not have had the longest career, but they had one of the most enduring hits of the disco era. D.I.S.C.O is at its core a song designed to make people dance, and sometimes that's all a song needs to do. Finally today, a sneaky good track. This was a song I'd never heard before I started this little adventure, but it's become a firm favourite. It's emotive, it's beautifully sad, but sometimes that's a place we all need to go to. In 1980, Odyssey, the New York City-based vocal trio, released If You're Looking for a Way Out, a soulful ballad that diverged from their typical disco-infused sound. This track, featured on their album Hang Together, showcased the emotive lead vocals of Lillian Lopez, capturing the poignant moment where one confronts the inevitable end of a relationship. This is our track 7 today. Odyssey, a band we met as recently as episode 10.5 with their disco classic Use It Up and Wear It Out were known for their disco and funk prowess, but If You're Looking for a Way Out hit differently. The song's lyrics delve into the raw emotions of recognising a partner's desire to leave. Lines like, "Love is crazy, baby, I can see it in your eyes," and "Your kisses taste the same, but it's just a sweet disguise," reflect the painful awareness of a love that's fading. The chorus, "So if you're looking for a way out, I won't stand here in your way," epitomises the heart-wrenching acceptance of letting go, even when every fibre of one's being yearns to hold on. Written by Ralph Kotkov and produced by Sandy Linzer, the track stands out not only for its lyrical depth, but also for its musical composition. The arrangement complements the song's melancholic theme, allowing Lopez's vocals to convey the depth of emotion inherent in the lyrics. Upon its release, If You're Looking for a Way Out achieved significant success in the United Kingdom. It entered the UK singles chart on September the 13th, 1980, and climbed to a peak position of number 6, remaining on the chart for a total of 15 weeks. This accomplishment was particularly notable as it followed their previous UK number 1 hit, Use It Up and Wear It Out, solidifying Odyssey's presence in the British music scene. The song's resonance wasn't confined to the 1980s. Decades later, it continued to find its place in various music charts. For instance, on November the 24th, 2024, If You're Looking for a Way Out reached number 28 on the radio charts, demonstrating its enduring appeal. Additionally, on February the 27th, 2022, the track climbed to number 36 on the iTunes chart, indicating a resurgence in digital popularity. The legacy of If You're Looking for a Way Out extends beyond Odyssey's original rendition. The song has been covered by various artists, each bringing their unique interpretation to the heartfelt ballad. Notably, British band Tindersticks included a cover of their song on their 1999 album Single Pleasures, infusing it with their signature melancholic style. The emotional gravity of If You're Looking for a Way Out lies in its theme of confronting the end of a relationship with grace and selflessness. The song's enduring popularity can be attributed to its honest portrayal of love's complexities and the painful yet noble act of letting go. As listeners, we are invited into a space of introspection where the melodies and lyrics intertwine to evoke a profound emotional response. The room always gets a little dusty when this track is on. In revisiting this classic, one can't help but appreciate the artistry and emotional intelligence that Odyssey bring to their music. As of February 2025, the song continues to be a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between love and loss, and the strength required to navigate the spaces in between. That's it for this episode. I do hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Join us next time. We're on the second half of Playlist 13. We meet a certain Mr. Brian Johnson as AC/DC are rejuvenated. We go to school with madness for my favourite track from the Nutty Boys. We meet Stevie Wonder, hear the Specials slowly evolve their own ska sound, rejoin Diana Ross and her old piano, and end with the greatest song ever, according to the metal band Korn. But no spoilers, folks. You'll have to listen to hear their pick. It may surprise you. As always, do give us a follow, and if you've made it this far, I'd really appreciate a review too. I'm now 25 episodes in and still feeling my way, so I'd love some feedback. Good or bad, I don't mind. Until next time, take care.